yaa ngi You're watching QTV this morning, and I am Jennifer Sonko, joined by my amazing co-host Ibrahim Balde. Good morning.
Good morning, Jennifer. It's good to be back here again on another edition of This Morning. You know.
Yeah.
Anyway, we are back, and you know the week it's Tuesday today.
Yeah, it's Tuesday, and wishing looking at judging by because I read the news yesterday, judging by the images that I saw, I'm sure that the Christian community had a successful and a very bright Feast of Assumption, which is locally called Sangmari. I'm hoping that we get to witness it many more years to come. And I'm happy that since 2019 they were able to have such a big celebration due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So according to interviews yesterday, it reminded me of how lockdown really prevented everyone from just doing their normal business. So since 2019, this is the first time that they're having a proper Sangmari, as in fulfilling all the traditions and people coming together, having the lunch and sale and all the activities. So I'm happy that everything is able to go back to normal and that they enjoyed it. It's a good one.
Absolutely. Well, it's important. I mean, that's the law for you. When you look at the way things work in the Gambia. Muslims and Christians, come together. I mean, tolerance to do certain things. And of course, today our guest is a bit late. I mean, that's Mr. Ade. I think they are miking him up at the moment.
Actually, Mr. Ade is stepping in the shoes of
Mr. Mboj.
But so he's not late. Yeah, he's actually here on time.
He's still gonna be Mr. Mboj here.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's important.
Here on
time,
he's wearing different caps. Sometimes he's Mboj, sometimes he's Ade. Or sometimes he's Malika, so it's important.
But Ibrahim, I think, I want to highlight one thing before our newspaper review guests come and then we delve into the African proverb. One thing that I want to talk about is the fact that in Gambia here, I see how tolerant we are. Everybody, when it's Sangmari, I see how Muslims join Christians to make sure it's a success. When it's Tobaski, how Christians also join us to make sure it's a success. So you can clearly identify how really tolerant things are.
Well,
and even judging by QTV broadcasts
I love it, Janaba. I mean, the past Tobaski, I saw Christian children who came to my home for Salibo.
Exactly.
And it's Tobaski. People were people were enjoying the feast. But for me, I mean, that's the feeling. I mean, that's lovely. I mean, seeing another person from a different religion, sharing my own religion. I mean, I think that's lovely.
Yeah.
So, Jenaba.
Yeah, it's just important that we continue to accept each other. People have the right to practice any form of religion that they want to, considering where we are. So the only thing we can do is just to continue to accept each other, because we know how religion can be a catalyst for instability. We've seen it in other countries. So, it's good that we are a perfect example of how what tolerance can bring in a country. Good morning, Mr. Ade.
Good morning. Can I be a dissenting voice here?
Okay.
We heard during the TRRC in this country how the Ahmadiyya were treated, and
True.
People were saying they're not even Muslims.
True.
So the tolerance can extend so far. Let's not be complacent.
True. True.
And we need to be more tolerant of others.
Yeah.
But it's something to be celebrated in the Gambia for sure.
I went to an Ahmadiyya school. Nusrat Senior Secondary School is one of the best schools in the Gambia.
Still.
It's Ahmadis. Still. And the hospital is them. So at the end of the day, like you said, in as much as Christians and Muslims accept each other, then it has to extend to our individual sect, because there's nothing one can do about it as where we are, where freedom of expression is really accepted.
The BBC did a poll about 15 years ago, and Sierra Leone came up as the most religiously tolerant country in the whole of Africa. In the whole of Africa, Sierra Leone.
All right.
So it's just acceptance, nothing more, nothing less. And as a media, we have a responsibility to preach it at the end of the day.
For
yes. Sure. So what is our African proverb?
It reads: "The character of a man is not clear to. If the character of a man is not clear to you, look at his friends."
Disagree, but let's.
When the character of a man is not clear to you, look at his friends.
No.
Birds of the same feather flocks together.
No. It is alleged. There's also a similar saying that, you know, tell me who your friends are and I'll tell you who you are. It's, I don't know. I mean, all of those are of a similar ilk, you know, birds of a feather flock together. And I saw Jennifer shaking her head there.
Nope.
Because people can have friends who are of, you know, quite distinctly different characters to themselves. They might have certain things in common, and that's where their friendship begins. But a lot of people put a lot of store by this, and they'll see you and they will judge you by your friends. And sometimes it's not fair. They have to judge you by your content of your own character.
Exactly.
But people don't tend to do that.
One thing I know is friendship is so complicated. People are complicated as well. People choose who their friends are based on several reasons. Not because they're the same. So I can choose Ibrahima to be my friend for another interest that I have in Ibrahima.
Sure.
Not necessarily that I accept completely what Ibrahima is doing, but there's something in particular that I have seen in Ibrahima that actually caught my attention, and I feel like it is of my interest to have Ibrahima part of my circle, but not because me and Ibrahima are the same completely.
Yeah,
some people become friends with other people because they've been bullied when they were younger, not because they accept the people that they're moving with or that is who they are, but because of their childhood experiences, feeling left out and all of that, they see the need to associate, not because they accept that particular group of people.
Sure.
Sometimes you be friends with people, and I have my friends, you know, I'm not similar 100% with them. The only thing that I'm similar to my closest friends is the fact that we're all in the media.
Right. What about Ibrahim, Mr. Balde?
Yeah, yes. But then there are a lot of differences that we have as to our taste, how we want to behave and all of that. So if you just see me moving with them and you're like, oh, this is how Jenaba is so fatu, or Khadija is like this as well, you're making the biggest mistake ever. So you can, and the thing is, for me, there's no way for you to just judge anyone. The judge part I do not like.
But human beings are like that.
Human beings are, but shouldn't happen.
I'm interested to hear what Mr. Balde has to say about this. Mr.
Well,
Balde.
well, for maybe Jennifer might have her own way of interpreting friendship. I mean, how people move together. I mean, but for me, I think people of the same character and attitude moves together all the time. So that's what I think.
Right, yeah.
I mean,
okay, what's your justification?
Well, for me,
you himself as an example.
Okay.
For me, it is very rare to see me moving with friends here. I mean, it is very rare. I have this friend of mine whom I think have the same character with me.
Right.
And this guy, we moved together since we were going to school. So once he traveled, he left the country. I cannot get someone whom you know I can click with.
Right.
You understand? I've tried adjusting, I've tried moving with people, I've tried, you know, building friendship, but it's very difficult for me because at the end of the time I do not see that kind of a character in them. Yes. So it's difficult for me. You know, each and every person, you have your own way of doing your own thing.
But Mr. Ade, it also depends on your definition of friendship.
Well, I was going to come to that.
Because friendship is different as we speak, and where the word is at as we speak. Friendship can differ. It might be business friendship. It's still friendship because there are things that you have in common that you play.
I was going to use the phrase, you can compartmentalize your friends.
Exactly.
So, for example, I have cousins who I'm very close to, and we're friends as well as cousins. And there are other cousins I don't get on with. But the ones who are friends, they're like really, really good friends. But then also, because I have many interests, I have friends who we only come together as friends around books or music or football.
Yeah.
And they're not even interested in all the other stuff that I'm interested in. They're interested in this, and that is what our friendship is about. It's based on that shared interest, as you hinted at. That you can have shared interests, and that can make.
And then, if someone else out there looking at you makes the mistake of seeing that individual doing something else, somewhere else, and tries to use that to judge who Mr. Ade is, that's the biggest mistake that you can do.
And I'm glad you said that, because sometimes I've taken to becoming this grumpy old man blasting people on social media. Because people see you in a group commenting about music or football or something, and they think they can insult you because they think they know you. And I always say to them, you don't know me, so shut up.
Exactly.
You know, and
people
they judge you and they jump to conclusions, and people do that very, very readily, and we shouldn't. But it's a very interesting, thought-provoking proverb. I was going to steal one from the BBC today, and it said, it's only when the rain stops that the umbrella becomes heavy. And becomes a burden.
That's the time you don't use it.
When you're using it, it's not heavy.
It's useless.
But when it's not raining, it's like...
and it's really true. Carrying an umbrella is such a burden when it's not raining.
Quite.
Such a burden.
Well, you know, people can think, huh? I mean, imagine where they drive that thing.
Some Nigerian person posted that one on the BBC today, and it made me smile when I read it, because there's an element of truth in it. It's a cumbersome thing to carry around, but when it's raining, you really love and you appreciate the fact that you have it. So it's a really good one.
So Mr. Ade, I think generally people should not just judge people by what they see on the outer side of things.
Appearances can be deceptive.
It can be. So before judging someone, get to know the individual better.
You see, that's always difficult.
It's always difficult. Then don't judge. Mind your business. It's that simple. Why?
Well, I mean, society sometimes it's difficult. One should mind your business.
Exactly. Drink water.
I mean, it's difficult now. People point fingers at people, people they don't for no reason. So what I tell my my friends, I mean, the people that I meet with daily, I tell them, look, I mean, if a person is talking about you, a person is pointing at you, never mind. At some point, they might have things that are, that are far worse than what you're doing. So it's important for society cannot change.
We can't force people to think differently.
You can't. I remember once I was at an event in London, and it was so funny because my cousin happened to be standing next to this guy, and he was actually our deputy high commissioner to London, and he was talking about me, and my cousin was looking at him like, I don't think you know Ade. And
that's my cousin.
At first he didn't say that at first, because the guy was saying, the reason Ade organizes all these diaspora conferences in London is because, of course, he's building his political base, so one day he can go back to Sierra Leone and he can stand as president.
Look at that.
And my cousin was like, no, now I know you really don't know my cousin. He said, I can tell you 100% Ade has not the single interest in standing for any political position. It's not that I'm not interested in politics as a subject.
But
I have never wanted to be a politician. I will never be a politician. And my cousin told him that. So when he was like, he said to my cousin, well, how do you know? And he said, look, not only is my cousin, we sit next to each other in the office.
That's simple.
You know, but people judge you because
judge people.
You know, they see one part of you and they think they know.
That's who you are.
It's a dangerous thing.
Imagine Ade, president of Sierra Leone.
Astaghfirullah.
Anyway, thank you so much, Mr. Ade, for that. A good proverb there. Take your time. Don't just judge people. Get to know them. It's not even by force to know them, but just don't paint them something that they're not.
And we have to say, to take the proverb, don't accept what that proverb says, because it's not true. Don't judge people by their friends.
Don't. No. It's a no. So let's go for a short commercial break, and when we come back, we'll take a look at what the newspapers are saying. We'll be right back.
Have you been looking for the perfect indoor router with long-range Wi-Fi coverage and faster internet speed connecting all your smart devices? Well, we present to you the QCell Indoor Router, a router that has all you need and much more. For just $4,275, you can get 4G plus internet speed, wide coverage, and connect up to 15 devices. And that's not all. The indoor router can be used for both office and home needs. So, enhance your internet experience with our indoor router. For more info, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunyabus, we innovate, others follow. Espas Motors is the largest and most modern auto service in the Gambia. Espas Motors is the only authorized dealer in Chevy, Mercedes-Benz trucks, Mercedes-Benz buses, Kia, Ford, Futon Mini and Midi buses, Futon trucks. At Espas Motors, we have qualified professionals who use modern technology to diagnose and repair all brands of motor vehicles. Espas Motor services include auto sales, auto repairs, vehicle painting, availability of high-quality spare parts, towing services. We are reachable at any time. Call Espas Motors on 352222 353-4444 or locate us on the Bertil Harding Highway. Espas Motors.
All right, welcome back from that short break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV this morning. So, Mr. Ade, should we start with you or Ibrahim?
Start with me because I always want to say we always look at the front page of the newspaper when we're doing our headline, and we tend to forget sports.
Yeah. And
there have been a couple of momentous happenings in sport that we should not neglect.
Okay.
At the Islamic Solidarity Games, Gina Bass won 200 meters gold.
Yeah.
And the Gambia 4x100 women, they won gold in a national record and an Islamic Games record.
Yeah.
Much to be celebrated there.
Yeah.
So, and they faced very stiff competition. I guess our judoka, who did very well, Fai in Birmingham, didn't do so well. Gajaga tells me he lost. I was trying to stay up, but it was like 10 o'clock last night, and I was doing other things, so I didn't see. And then champions, Hawks FC, finally, I don't know why we love using this word coronated. I only see it in West Africa. Just crowned in grand style.
Coronated.
Coronation.
Like you're coronating.
Yeah. I only see it in Sierra Leone, Ghana, Gambia, and Nigeria. I don't know why. It's like a bizarre thing. But they won the first division for the first time. We mentioned back then. In 26 years. Yeah. But the crowning was on Sunday. Yeah. They'd already won it, and so they played their last match, which they could have lost and they would still be champions. Yeah. But in true championship style, they won it anyway.
Yeah, that was good.
So that was really good. And they had hundreds there to see the thing. So our colleagues were there. Yeah. Mboj and also Ali Cisse, who did it.
But my question, Mr. Ade, on this particular story is, how competitive is the Islamic Games?
Oh, it's very. I mean, because you have big countries taking part. Yeah. You know, Malaysia, Nigeria, Cameroon. I mean, like really good. And in the men's 100 meters, for example, the guy who won it from Ivory Coast, I mean, the time he ran in the heat, 9.78, would have won him the Olympics or the World Championship. Okay. So we're not talking about, you know, some kind of small thing, but, but there are lots of Islamic countries, of course. You
so Gina Bass's timing for the Islamic Games, is it like her best?
No, it's not. She didn't set a record in the 200 meters, but you know, it was good enough. I think sometimes if people push you in terms of
it depends on who you're competing with sometimes
then that you raise your game to that. Yeah. But the women 4x1, they raised their game and they set a Gambia national record. And as
I said,
relay? Also the relay, 4x100 relay, and it's also an Islamic Games record as well.
I think we should watch out for Wuri Jado.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, she was in the 4x100.
I wanted to say that. I think it's important for other athletes to be well nurtured. I mean, in case, because there will be a time when Gina will also hang her boots, you understand? So it's important for us to see how best to bring the young ones.
Oh my God.
Well, you know, it's interesting you say that, because if you look at Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce of Jamaica, who's leading the world in the 100 and 200 meters, she's now 35. And she's running faster now than she was when she was 25. So those things have gone out of the window. When I was an athlete and I was aspiring to play football, my parents told me, don't go into football because you'll retire by the time you're 30. Yeah. Ronaldo is 37. He's still playing. You have James Milner playing for Liverpool. He came on yesterday. In fact, he started the game yesterday. He's 36. You have Zlatan. He's 40. He's about to be 41. And he's just signed a new contract with AC Milan.
Wow.
So those things are going out of the window. People are looking after their bodies better, they're training better and so on. So Gina, she could probably run for another 7-8 years at the top of her game.
But Serena Williams, I saw she
said she doesn't like the word retirement.
She doesn't,
she
but
said,
it was so emotional.
It really was.
Yeah.
And she was tearful and it was, I mean, she's been a great athlete. I've seen her live a couple of times
so well.
at Wimbledon. And
really?
Yeah. When I was in England, I used to get tickets for Wimbledon.
Okay.
So, I used to go to Wimbledon every year before, just because I was a fan of tennis.
Yeah.
And so I saw some great finals. In those days, you could queue up overnight for the standing. In those days, they used to have standing at centre court. They haven't had it for 20 years now. Yeah. But in those days, you could. If you queued up overnight, you could stand. And I remember Borg versus McEnroe. I was there. You know, also saw McEnroe versus Jimmy Connors.
Nice.
And it was like 90 degrees, and we had to stand. And because you're standing on concrete, it's like you're being baked, because the sun is just beating down on the concrete, and then and we were sweating as if somebody had poured water over us. But enjoyed the atmosphere. It's fantastic.
So she said she's transitioning.
She's transitioning. She's not retiring. She said, I hate the word retirement. Yeah, but it's great.
She's doing a little bit of fashion as well.
She's doing lots of other stuff.
And she has a nice body, despite, you know.
Like she said, when somebody tried to make fun of her, she said, you know what, I'm a great athlete and God gave me this badass body.
Yeah, she has a badass body.
And
that I know.
Like, that was her reply. So for her, it's sad that she's transitioning or retiring. But she's still got a couple more tournaments to play. She's playing Raducanu of Britain in the next match, I think this week. Okay. So we'll see how she gets on.
Looking forward to that.
Shall we get back to the newspapers then?
Yeah, so Ibrahima, what are the newspapers saying?
Let's start. Let's continue with this.
Okay, APP leader tells government to minimize embassies to save resources. Nice and provocative. We might get onto it. NACA endorses, I'm not sure what, ITTOG's performing arts, cookery and pastry curriculum. Now, for the pastry curriculum, do you get to taste it before you endorse it? I don't know. I hope so.
Oh, I know these are existing dishes. They just have to like...
Well, yeah. I mean, it's for a curriculum, I guess, for the instruction and studies. And over 100 oxygen cylinders of Banjul Oxygen Company recovered from alleged impounder by police. Difficult headline to interpret. Residents of Kerpate Kore beg government for good road. And, of course, as ever, there's an upturned truck that has fallen on its side. And then NCAC embarks on tree planting exercise at UNESCO World Heritage Site for heritage conservation. And then PSJAR advocates for effective coordination in government offices. Again, I hope we can get to that story. So that's from The Voice, by the way.
All right, that's the Foroyaa newspaper. Some of the headlines read, over 5,000 people internally displaced due to flash floods. And of course, we also have, I think we dealt with this one, Fakeba Kole's family vows to fight for justice over his death in police custody. And of course, former state guards involved in fatal car accident laid to rest. Fatal, all right. We also have Kirfatu journalist case stalls. I think that's the most interesting headlines we have. Jenna, what do you think?
So ECOWAS convenes Peace, Security, Democracy and Good Governance conference in Banjul tomorrow. That's today. That's tomorrow.
It's today.
Today.
Because Aliou Cisse is attending.
It's there currently. It's today. So transport sector receives over 696 million support grant in 2016 to 2017. And court sentences man to life imprisonment over raping minor. Good news. Yep.
Justice.
I think
Justice.
This is amazing.
Yes, it's amazing.
The moment this strength continues, then I think...
But first of all, let's start with, let's talk about road accidents before we get into
Why do you want to talk about
I already started.
You have a story.
I insist.
This is the problem.
He's jumped ahead of you.
I insist. I insist.
You're going to allow me to flow.
Oh, really?
Let him
flow. I'll obviously come back
for this man. Gentleman first.
Please, flow.
Let's talk about road accidents.
What do you want to talk about?
It's not new. We talk about this all the time. We talk about the dangers of our roads. I mean, we invited a young man here. They were embarking on a sensitization campaign on how to help, reduce road accidents. Last week, we were shocked to receive 4 of our personnel from the security sector died on a fatal accident.
From the presidential...
exactly.
motorcade.
Yes.
But it's important we also highlight that was not part of the convoy of the president.
Well, in fact...
It was a follow-up or something.
Exactly.
Sure.
Yes, that's why I put it this way. Part of our security. I mean, they are from the security sector.
Sure. You know, the road traffic statistics in the country, I've said 1,000 times, written about it, spoken about it. They are nothing short of a national disgrace. A country the size of Gambia should not be 4th in the world for road traffic accidents, which we are. And I've said this also again. If people took the real figures, we would be #1 by a distance. Because a lot of the accidents actually don't get reported. Somebody has an accident with somebody else, and then they stand on the roadside and they exchange details and they negotiate. They do that a lot here. So what we're talking about are the officially reported figures have put us at #4 in the world. So the fact that security personnel die, all sorts of people die, doctors, lawyers, butchers, bakers, candlestick makers, everybody dies on our roads. Hey, you know, everybody dies on our roads. The fact that security personnel who are part of the presidential advance or follow-up guard happen to die, these things just bring to our minds how serious the conditions are. And if I were the president, I don't want to be president by the time Gambia becomes #1 in the world. I would declare this a kind of state, an emergency situation, because we need to address it. We need to address it.
Exactly. So I think we have another.
So Ibrahima, we have the police deputy PRO on the line to talk about the Gambia Police Force helpline.
Inspector Aliou Jamanka.
Yes. So good morning, Mr. Jamanka.
Good morning.
Yeah, so welcome to this morning. It's really good to have you here. So we are aware that there's a helpline now, a police helpline 117. So can you just quickly update us about developments leading to that?
Well, thank you very much.
So to make communication easy, excuse me, to make communication easy, you would just turn your the volume of your TV completely down, because I can hear myself and then you will not be able to hear me. It might be difficult for the viewers. So please turn it off, or just, you know, turn the volume as low as possible so we can communicate, please.
Thank you very much. That's done already.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
Yes, did you get my question?
Yes, I said good morning. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on this show.
Good morning.
Yeah.
You didn't get your question.
So let's talk about the 117 number, the helpline introduced by the Gambia Police Force.
The 117 is the police hotline, helpline to report incidents, crime, and for example, you need police help, you can just call 117 at all times. It is 24 hours operational, and you can always get us on 117 whenever you need help from the police.
Yes.
Yes, whenever you need help from the police, 117. So I want to talk about sustainability, because we've had, you know, numbers in existence in Gambia here, 117, where you call and then maybe you can't even reach. So how big is the capacity? Do you have like a what's it called? Like a call center?
Call center.
You know, do you have a call center where there are a lot of staffs, where they speak Wolof, Manjago, all of the languages? I would just explain to us deeply about developments leading to this, because I'm 100% sure this was properly planned before coming up with the number. I believe so. So tell us.
That is it. It's a well-established unit under the Office of the Public Relations Unit of the Gambia Police Force, housed at the police headquarters. And as I said, it is 24 hours operational, with experienced police officers who speaks almost all local languages in our country.
Oh, good.
Yes, and the unit is operated on 24 hours basis. That is shift. We have morning, afternoon, and night shift. So any time of the day or night you call, you get an officer who will respond to you. Sometimes you'll get calls all the way from Fatoto, different parts of the country. Okay. And whenever a call is directed, we make sure that we attend to the individual and as quick as possible.
So, are you going to kind of increase capacity? Because now that there's 117, you expect that when people call, then you will swiftly respond. So is capacity going to be increased whereby at least you'll be able to respond accordingly? Because even as we speak, you know, the Gambia Police Force cannot be everywhere. So is there any mechanism to do an extensive training or increase capacity to ensure that when people call? And also considering the fact that there are no street names in the Gambia, how do you intend to identify where an individual is located as well?
Can you repeat your question, please?
Yes. So I said, considering that now there's a helpline, you will expect more calls when things happen. Obviously, people will make good use of it. So are you going to increase capacity on the side of the Gambia Police Force to ensure that you can swiftly respond to the calls that you get to have? That is one question. And another thing is, considering we do not have street names, it might be difficult to locate where an individual is calling from to be able to give the necessary support. How do you intend to go about that?
Yeah, that's it. For capacity building has been a very it's been one of IGP's top priority for personnel of the Gambia Police Force. And looking at our units, the public relations unit of the Gambia Police Force, most of the personnel working under the unit are people that have some form of media communication experience. And coming back to the same capacity you're talking about, we at this unit, this 117 hotline, the personnel there and the radio, police radio, we have a radio station called Police FM on the 95.7. Last or 2 weeks ago, there was this training organized by the Gambia Press Union. They came into the headquarters to train our personnel on the customer care and the basic of journalism. So, to be honest with you, this call center, we have personnel who are customer oriented, and everything is locked. We have a logbook whereby if someone calls, for example, Jenaba Sonko calls from Fajara, we will take your details and make sure that we give the necessary support. And every caller, the details of every caller are taken, and we keep these records for quick response.
Yeah, so how about identifying where an individual is? I mean, location-wise, do you have a system in place to know that Jenaba is calling from Fajara South and we are trying to locate the compound? If as something happens, how do you intend to go about that?
Actually, to be honest with you, we don't have that system yet.
Okay.
But surely we are working on, getting everything set. And as I said, once I call a call, we will first ask for your details. Where are you calling from? What's your name? You tell us your location. We record all those things. And the next step is to act on your request as soon as possible.
All right.
Well, okay. How do you, dispatch your personnel? I mean, for example, if someone called from Fatoto right now, and it comes direct to your head office, is there a particular link that you do, maybe to the police in URR?
Yes. Just as I said, for example, Balde calls from Basse High Level. Hello, this is the police. I need your help. Someone just snatched my bag. I am around the Basse Market. What we will ask you is, we will ask you your name, details, you give us all those things, then we will contact Basse police stations directly. Then the closest police station, because we have what we call the CUG, the police CUG. Every police officer knows that the CUG is meant for switch communication. Switch. Once I call the SO Basse police station, he will take my call directly, because he will know that this has to do with official thing. So he will receive the call, then we will give him the information as per what you gave us. Then swift action will take place, and we have registered success stories many a times. So to be honest with you, the 117 is working, and definitely it's very effective in the fight against crime. Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yes, I think, I mean, well, Mr. Ade, any other thing you want to add on?
No, I mean, just to say we welcome it, Inspector, but I think I would just harp on about what my colleague Jennifer Sonko mentioned about, it's not in your remit to fix the fact that we don't have street addresses, but I will give you, and this is a real example. It happened to one of our colleagues. Their house was being broken into in Fajara, and they had a number for somebody at the local police station. And because they could not find, it took them 45 minutes. They could have been killed. There were 4 people breaking into their house. It took the police 45 minutes to get there. I keep going on about this, but Gambia, really, we need to wake up about these addresses. It's not some fancy thing. Somebody was telling me that electronically generated addresses are going to solve the problem. So, Inspector, what I would say to you, work with the authorities and say to them, if we have this helpline, it would help us if we have proper addresses.
Exactly.
Where are you? I'm at 10 Geneva Sonko Street. You go there, bam. But if you're relying on these computer-generated things, nobody's going to remember them. I live in the house. I don't know what's stuck outside the house. It's good for collecting taxes, but it's not good for the police finding me or anybody else finding me if I'm in trouble. So please work with these people and see if you can come to some sort of arrangement. Otherwise, the helpline is going to have lots and lots of constraints.
And that is not just the only constraint. I was also asking him about if they're going to increase capacity, vehicles, because you need vehicles, you need fuel available to be able to go to the places you need to go to at the end of the day. Yes, so Inspector, how about, getting the required funds to have more vehicles, more vehicles, more personnel as well, because having a helpline is one thing.
I think that's out of the inspector's pay
I know, but
to make that decision.
He can't make that decision, but obviously they're the one. Maybe there's an initiative in place. That is why he's the deputy PRO, to tell us if there's an initiative in place or not.
Well, I can't say much on that,
Jennifer,
but all I can tell you is the 111 or the 117 hotline is operational, and trust me, it is very effective in the fight against crime in this country. We've been receiving calls, and we've been acting on those calls as soon as the calls come. And the issue of capacity building, that is we are doing that every day. Every day we training, on the job training. It's part of it, and most of the time, as I said, we are on top of things.
Right. Thank you so much, Inspector, for joining us on the program. And like Mr. Ade said, we welcome this development.
Very much.
But yes, we also have to agree that there are things surrounding it to make it possible, to make it sustainable. And those are the things that we just highlighted. And hopefully the authorities will be able to fix that to make the 117 helpline effective as expected. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. And can we just say very quickly to our viewers that the 117 is across all networks. So regardless of the network.
And for free.
And it's free. So regardless of the network you're on, you can dial 117. And as Ibrahim Abalde says, it is free, so you don't have to worry. Is this going to cost you anything? It won't cost you anything.
I mean, it's easy. I mean,
117.
Calling 117.
In England, it's 999.
999.
And 911.
But 999 is for many things. It's for, they ask you, 999, do you want ambulance, fire, or police?
They connect you to.
And they connect you to whichever one.
And you know what? So I forgot to ask him a question. If, the individuals at the call center, are these individuals trained counselors as well? Because obviously,
if
you're not a trained counselor, you, the police officer, can even add panic to the individual who needs
he
you.
mentioned the GPU training.
But
so when he
but
when he mentioned it, I suspected, maybe I'm being presumptuous, I presume that some of it was to do with that sort of, because honestly, the counseling thing is what exactly came to that.
Because the police officer can add panic.
That's a very important point you mentioned. You know, I think trained counselors are also very important when it comes to this. I mean, I don't know. I watched the movie. I'm a fan of movies. I mean, if you want to know how, you know, in the United States, how their police officers behave when it comes to certain calls, you can watch a movie called The Call. You understand? So you can see how they handle their calls. In case a person is in a situation, they'll try to calm you down.
That's the theory. But tell that to George Floyd. You know, because the police were called and look what happened to him. So yeah, that's the movie.
Movies, obviously, they want to portray. They want to use movies to portray good images of institutions.
On a more serious point, in both the United States and certainly in England, where I lived for so many years, they do have people who are trained counselors for when they receive those sorts of calls, because somebody could be victim of a domestic violence matter, and they'll ask you, where are you? Are you safe? Do you need to do this? Do you need to do that? And they need to talk to you, and they record those. They actually record the audio of those, and some of them, when they've had to play them in court, can be quite heartbreaking because in some cases, you know, the person ended up being murdered. So you have to have people who are trained to handle those calls. So it's a valid.
And also, you can see with these trained counselors, they can obviously also sometimes help you to not tamper with evidence.
Of course.
Because if something happens, then they will tell you exactly what to do. If it's rape, they will tell you not to wash yourself, because obviously the cement is needed at the hospital to determine if intercourse happened. If it's murder case, they will tell you, oh, don't touch this, don't do that. So they need to be like, the capacity building aspect is really key.
Well, when I saw the 117 helpline of the Gambia Police Force, you know, a lot of things came through my mind. I mean, capacity.
That is like such as?
Because you've mentioned some of them, so I just wondered whether they were different.
And how to get to people in Koina. I mean,
or anywhere.
You know, we all know in the Gambia, most departments are complaining of resources. I mean, we have a lack of resources. I mean, you see an ambulance without petrol, my friend.
But I think we should also appeal to the public that this thing there is for genuine calls. So we don't need hoax calls.
It happens.
We don't need people calling them out and then they're deploying to somewhere and then they find there's nothing happening there. So please don't abuse it. I know it's easy to say, but you have people who, I don't even know why people do stuff like that.
Me too. It's like, and it happened during the COVID-19. People used to call the helpline for nothing.
For nothing at all. You know, so
some people call you and tell you left a credit card. I want you to send me credit. Can you imagine? And you know, I was with the Minister of Health, you know, on Sunday. We were having a live program on there, this vaccination vaccination campaign. I asked them about the 1025 number. How active is the 1025? I mean, I was surprised. They said the number is not very active now.
Well, because nobody's using it anymore. Gambia. Because people think there's no COVID anymore.
The way people have been treating COVID now, the number is not very active anymore. I said the number is supposed to be active.
Because even now there's another vaccination campaign ongoing to bring us up to this 70% vaccination of the whole population. We're never going to get it. Let's be realistic. You know, we can dance around it if we want, but this is Gambia. We have to be
I give real. Them a very. I give the lady and the gentleman a very easy way of vaccinating the whole country. I mean, place 500 on the vaccination. If you vaccinate, I give you 500. Everybody will be vaccinated.
People will be asking to be vaccinated twice.
So this is why this is a very valid point about the 1025. I was expecting, you know, when COVID came, the 1025 should have been part of lessons learned, in the sense that the number should have just continued, not for COVID-19 maybe, but for just any other thing. Because just recently we saw how kids, there's this condition, the kidney injury. It could have continued, whereby if you see any health-related matter that is unusual, you can use that helpline to call. Like, it should have been like some form of continuity where we have our lessons learned. If another pandemic should come, it will not surprise us. things like that. I know it's better said than done. I'm thinking sky.
It's like, you know, all these things, they do a report at the end of
yeah.
a certain period after 1 year and so on. But you would imagine, or you would hope, that they would include something like that in that sort of in their thinking.
I've received a message from the deputy PRO himself.
Yeah.
Said they also have a website, and
right, cool.
it's on Gambia.com. Yes.
Active website, as in?
Yes, Gambia.com.
Just Gambia.com?
Yeah. I think what I'll do, I'll just click on the website
and see
go
when the latest update was.
You know,
just Gambia.com?
Yeah. Yes. Well, I'm seeing.
Oh, I can see stuff on there. Yeah.
News for the Gambia.
Okay.
You know,
right.
and I'm seeing some security and justice information. I'm seeing a whole lot of stuff here. I think it's important.
That is to be celebrated. Yeah, an active website, government website in the Gambia. Wow. Wonders will never cease.
All right.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I think, gentlemen, that is all we have time for, because we have our social issue, as well as we have Click. We have Click today, right?
No.
Oh, there's no Click today?
There is no Click.
What is Buba Fati doing?
He's going to interview.
Buba is being featured on music videos.
He's now a model.
He is celebrity, and he is busy these days.
Yeah, but Mr. Ade, we talked about the court sentencing a man to life imprisonment over rape. You know, at least this is a milestone, considering that there's evidence when it comes to rape to an extent of, you know, a life imprisonment. You know, so a person is going to be jailed forever for raping a minor.
The law allows that. It's in the law.
Yeah.
It's in the statute book. And if we did some research, I suspect we'll probably find it's not the first time.
It is not the first, but the fact that there's continuity.
Yes. Yes. I mean, you know, for some, these are the kind of crimes that disgust everybody.
Yeah.
It's not somebody having their mobile phone stolen or something. This is very, very serious. You damage somebody for life with that sort of thing. So you should get your freedom taken away from you, without a doubt. So I don't think anybody would argue with that sort of sentence. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, gentlemen, any other interesting headline there?
Well, I had the one about APP leader tells government to minimize embassies to save resources.
I can see.
Have we run out of time?
We're almost there, but we can deal with that before we leave.
President of Kenya.
Yeah, how long have you got? Yeah, because that one is going to be disputed. You can bet, you know, the fact that you have a 7-member electoral commission and 4 of them step away saying we refuse to endorse this result. Trust me, he's going to contest it. He will contest it. These are not just people who work in the.
These are commissioners.
Okay. In one constituency in Nairobi, the returning officer disappeared. Just before I came on air, they found his body. He'd been killed.
What?
This election is going to be disputed 100%, I can guarantee you. So you say he's the new leader. He's the new leader for now. This is going to be disputed because there are too many anomalies.
And he's not. He's just president-elect as the figures.
He's been announced as, you know. So yes, and people have been sending in congratulatory messages. But we saw them fighting in the as
I've
the
never
result
seen
was.
this ever.
Neither have I.
I've never seen IEC
officials exchanging blows. It's extraordinary.
Well,
and then 4 of them held a press conference immediately saying we do not endorse the result. And these are the 4 of the 7 senior IEC officials said we do not. How would you not expect? Probably, you know. So yeah, so you said we can talk about that, but yeah, that's
so quickly.
That one. I mean, yes, the APP leader Ibrahim Jang says that people have said we should kind of cut down on our embassies and so on, and he's suggesting that, you know, we could have an official at the various Senegal offices, and that official will represent the interests of Gambia. Well, guess what, Mr. Jang? In some places where we are a high commission, Senegal doesn't even have an embassy. So what are you talking about? You know, so I'm sorry, it just is not workable. It's not workable, and we're a sovereign country. We should have our own embassies.
And why should somebody negotiate our foreign policy on our behalf?
Well, he's not saying they should do that. He's saying we should just have a single official who is effectively the Gambian ambassador, but that person should be situated within a Senegal embassy, wherever in the world. I mean, that's his suggestion, and honestly, it's unworkable.
An embassy housing a whole lot of ambassadors.
But you know, the thing is, if you have just an individual, when you come to an embassy or a high commission, I don't know if he doesn't know how it works. You have somebody who's a trade attaché. You might have somebody who is a education attaché, and so there are people who have different responsibilities. You're not going to have just one individual who can do all of that stuck in a Senegal embassy. So
it's a whole staff. It's a whole lineup.
You might say you need to reduce it and have two people doing, one person doing two jobs. Fine, but to have just a single individual in all the Senegal thing,
but even that can't work because they're different sectors.
People have different skills.
Expertise. So it's not just,
exactly.
No, it can't. No.
Sorry, Mr. APP leader. I'm not sure that one's workable.
So thank you so much, Mr. Ade, for joining us on the newspaper review.
Pleasure, as always.
Interesting.
Although you should address me as Mr. Mboj.
Mr. Mboj, thank you, Mr. Mboj.
Absolutely.
Wonderful African proverb. And we also discussed the helpline, police helpline 117. Also interesting headlines here as well. So thank you for joining us. Have a nice day.
And you too. And to the viewers, have a lovely day.
All right. We will be right back.
Save up to 50% energy with the new side-by-side Samsung refrigerator. Samsung air conditioners come with HD filter and antibacterial for your protection. Save time, energy, and effort by using our washing machines, loaded with innovative features that offer superior cleaning technology. Step into the future of television with our slick and slim Samsung Smart TV designs. Sizes range from 32 to 85 inches. Smart LED, Crystal UHD Ultra High Definition, and QLED Quantum Dark LED. Get new ways of interacting with your TV. Unparalleled vision, right from the comfort of your living room. Our products are backed with 1-year warranty. Visit us at QCell Building at Caraba Avenue or at Boost Turntable. Contact us on 333-3217 or email us at info@quantumnet.gm.
Light. From the beginning of time, light has been there.
It is integral to our survival and to our way of living.
We need light to work,
to build,
to grow things, and even to see our loved ones.
Light makes things easier and better.
So QCell has changed the way you buy Q-Power to make it easier and more accessible.
You can now access the same service quickly and get your cash power tokens instantly with the new QCell Q-Power code.
To light up your world, simply dial *363#.
With a touch of your fingers,
with ease and convenience from the comfort of your home or office,
you can bring light into your world instantly with *363#.
Q-Power, lighting your world.
QCell Sunyabus.
We innovate, others follow.
Welcome back from that short break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV This Morning. Ibrahim?
Yes.
Welcome back.
Sponsor this show. Sponsors it. It's the fuel of the program. So you need to sponsor. I mean, call our marketing team on 3244444 to be part of the program. I wouldn't say it like Lamin Dabo. He said 32444.
4 No 4 mom down.
4
man dal bes bo xam nga lu fi xew ma doon read news yaa ngi dégg so bi ma read news ma read ba aga si story boobu si ending bi mu ne 4
wallaay ndeysaan
oyu ma ree bi bëgg waaye nit kese la sad story la woon xam nga man immediately after sad story moom mënuloo ree mënuloo smile
wallaay ndeysaan
media bi mayu la ko waaye boobu dama ree
wallaay ndeysaan
nu ma muy bu mu ne
masalan
bu mu ne 4 rek ma ne la 4 jeex na
ori imam ja
ma ne 5 6 sañu dem
ma ne ko ori imam ja wallaay ndeysaan
waaye dafa mën a invent dara nag
4 So we are back.
We're back.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us. Yes. So on social issues, we'll be discussing a very important topic, which has to do with exploitation of children using the internet. So we're joined by Child Protection Alliance Communications Officer Ibrahim Adabo to further talk to us about what the CPA is doing. And the CPA basically even has a lot of questions to answer as to, you know, beyond just child exploitation using the internet. I think it's good that you're here because there are a lot of things happening surrounding
Great
children.
to be with you too.
Yeah, it's good. So yeah, so to start with, because that is the topic obviously, which is exploitation of children using the internet. It's complicated because you know we know that there are not a lot of monitoring systems in this country to keep track, you know, and ensuring that children are safe when it comes to the use of the internet. It's you know, it's a several way approach to be able to like achieve it from the home, from the school and everything. So what is the CPA doing to kind of, you know, change the narrative in relation to this?
Okay, thank you very much. I think first we have to put this into context first. Yes, we need to understand what we are talking about. Because we live in the Gambia, it is not a country much advanced like other countries, and we know our level of internet penetration is very low compared to other countries. So if you talk about issues of online abuse, somebody would say, hold on, what is he talking about? Is this really happening? So, but we know that every day, or sometimes on numerous occasions, you hear reports of child abuse. And even people, the society is not even coming to terms with some of these reported abuses of children that are happening. So if there are physical abuse of children which people are not coming to terms with, it is very difficult for some of them to understand issues of online abuse. Right? So we are telling the public every time that any contravention of the right of any child that lead to mental or physical harm is an abuse, no matter whoever it comes from. Even it comes from the president, it's an abuse. So once you understand that, okay, the rights of children must be respected, and then any form of contravention is an abuse, then you would know that, okay, we need to make sure that we protect children at all times. So now we live in a generation where the internet increasingly becomes a culture, because we can't live. Sometimes we gather as a group here, before even we are interacting at personal level, we are all on our phones. So it becomes part of our lives. All right. So the way it becomes part of our lives as adults, that is the way it becomes part of the life of children as well. Because statistics is telling us that 1 out of every 2 children is an internet user, and 2 out of every 3 internet user is a child. So we have to understand that children are continuously online, and then we need to make sure we put in place mechanisms that would protect them. But that is beyond the alliance. The Child Protection Alliance. That has to do with enhancing the child right governance system. We have to make sure the systems and the mechanisms are completely in place to make sure that we effectively promote child rights and make the rights of children a reality. And that is all of us, including the government.
Absolutely. So what advocacy mechanisms is the CPA putting in place, you know? Maybe doing community parent trainings as to kids owning tablets, because we know the moment a child is born, you're given a tablet in front of you, and I don't even know how these kids type for what they want to appear. Kids, when you aman lolu jahan na made hale yi buñ leen joxe tablet dañoo type luñ bëgga Tom and Jerry hit na man how man, you know, that just shows how technology has so evolved, and it's now part of these kids. So do you kind of do like community sensitizations also with parents to actually guide them as to how they can monitor what their kids get to see, things like that?
Okay, so we're rolling out a very interesting program. Very, very soon. And this has to do with empowering children on issues of the internet. Because we will be running a whole digital campaign that will be led by only children. Children will take the lead in this digital campaign. But before all of that, the best way to empower them is to make sure they understand what is the internet. They have to understand the internet first before they go on to do anything about it. So we will be teaching them about understanding the internet and also how to run a very well-programmed and structured sensitization or awareness creation program through the internet. But you have to understand, okay, you said that once they are on their tablet, you don't even know where they get to where they are.
How they do it,
Okay, so do you know the best way to develop them as children is to give them a tablet? That is part of their mental development. You go to some international schools, I wouldn't mention any school for advertisement purpose, but they have special rooms for gaming. This gaming is helping those children in their mental development. You go to psychologists sometimes for some mental issues, they will tell you to play a game. So because it's part of the development. So children must have access to internet. It is very important for them to have access to internet because that is part of their development. So as adults and authorities, what we need to do is to make sure that the internet is a safer place for them to learn, to network, also to express their rights to freedom of expression and access to information, but also to connect with their friends and play a lot of things.
Yeah, so how do we determine that? I mean, what is the procedure that we are going to take to make sure, I mean, the thing that they are so facing on the internet, I mean, it's of beneficial to them? You understand? We cannot guarantee each and every child who is on the internet. The internet is an open window. You cannot guarantee each and every child is using the internet for studies or research or chatting with friends.
No.
Yes.
We cannot guarantee.
So how do we determine and how do we control that?
They come across a lot of content. Some of this content could be explicit, you know, in pornographic contents. Okay, they could come across predators who would groom them, or whose purpose is for sexual exploitation, okay, or who has different purposes to abuse them. Okay, but first, that is why I said the first and major step in protecting children online is to enhance our child right governance system. Because if we do so, that means we would have first the laws that will be protecting children online first, and second, we would have standard operating procedures in issues concerning the internet. Okay, there are government institutions responsible for regulating some stuff here. Even on radio, on TV. Some of the content you see on TV at certain time is not appropriate for children. Some of the radio or some stuff you listen to radio at a particular time is not convenient for children. So what we see on our movies is not convenient for children.
Absolutely.
So
I cannot watch movie with my kids.
How do we come up with standard operating procedures that will make sure that any movie you watch on TV or any content you play on TV would come with a warning that this is not a content for children? Okay, how do we do that? How do we make sure we review our Information and Communication Act to accommodate all these issues of online abuse that we are talking about?
I think to kind of completely make justice, we should have also invited maybe a cybersecurity expert here to further, you know, get into ways, give parents tips as to how technically they will be able to protect their children. But I think in a subsequent program we will get to do that, because I think this is a platform where parents get to watch and then they will be educated. So aside from exploitation...
So about parents.
Yes.
We have a program called PDEP. PDEP is positive discipline in everyday parenting.
Right.
So you must be disciplined in your parenting approaches to children. So because the way you coach your children at home determines the type of people they become.
Right.
Because as a person, me and you, we know as people, our socio-cultural upbringings influence our personality. So then it is very important for us to have a strong parental care.
Right.
And that is even a right written in the Children's Act.
It is.
That every child has right to parental care, development and maintenance.
Absolutely.
So we must start with parents, but we have to also know that every child has 3 parents, not 2 parents. Your mother, your father, and the government.
Right.
So the government as the primary duty bearer must make sure, as we said, this standard operating procedures, and make sure we review the Information and Communications Act to include issues online, because every day people are having access to internet and the online population is growing every day. So we cannot wait until big problems happen before we come up with solutions.
Yes. So aside from that, this is an opportunity. I see how CPA is blasted online for, you know, mercilessly, for not swiftly acting when it comes to certain situations involving children. So why is that? Is it because you have an investigation team that does the proper investigation before you get into things, or it's because the CPA is just not proactive as we speak? Which is which?
Some of the issues, I think even the latest one was an issue that happened about a particular child whose parents are going through some judicial whatsoever. But it is so interesting in the Gambia that, people, I think we are addicted to noise sometimes.
Oh, are we?
Yeah, we are. And sometimes we are too much addicted to negativity that the positive side is not seen. Because I've seen a lot of comments, and most of the comments that I've seen, I've screenshotted them. Some of these people, we were there day one. We were there day one.
Okay.
We were there on the first day. Okay? Up to now, we are there. Some of them comes when the issue has hype.
Okay.
So we are there from day one. You come when the issue has hype. Now you want to advise us what to do. In fact, we know what you don't know. We know more than you don't.
So this means their arguments are baseless.
Most of them. Most of the arguments are baseless. And you didn't need to respond to a baseless
CPA
argument.
come out and declare your stance? Because you cannot tell me you've been there since day one. Why is it that the CPA did not declare its stance? That's why I'm asking, do you have an investigative team that was there to investigate, to have the right information? Why did it take this long? That's just what I want to know.
Okay, so first we have to understand the Child Protection Alliance is not a government department.
True, yes.
Second,
that is there.
Second, as much as we play a complementary role to the government, we have to be accountable. We have to make sure the government is accountable.
True.
So in making sure the government is accountable, we need to make sure we scale up advocacy, and make sure we do a lot of engagement with the government.
True.
And some of these things, once they happen, our first thing is to make sure we put pressure on government to react to those situations.
Okay, did you do that?
I said from day one.
From day one. That is why you have to come out and educate the people. If the communication does not filter,
so in fact, that
so let's communicate.
From day one.
Do you have
Ibrahim right now? Someone do ma gom lolu. Man lu ma wax ni man gomuma ko. Xam nga lu tax duma ko gom?
Yeah, because it's not there in the public.
It's not there. Joxulo ma evidence. Génnulo motax ñu am ñu am public relations. Ngeen wara génna wax ak ñun.
So what are you people doing? What are you doing?
I think that's
lolu suma right la.
Yeah, that is your right. Okay. But here what we are saying is CPA as an institution, is not a law enforcement agency.
True.
So what we do is to make sure we observe situations, make sure we get the relevant information and engage relevant authorities to make sure they act as swift as possible. And we have been doing that in most of cases involving children. And in this case, the time we had a release was when a child is involved now. When it causes detriment to a particular child until
detriment happened.
We were the first to be there. I could say one of the first people to be there.
So
from the outset, I'm saying. From the outset.
Why have evidence?
Notice even if you're there, we didn't notice you.
So we need to write a press release for the public to know that we are there.
It's not like a press release. So and so situation allegedly happened. It's unfortunate. As a child protection body, we condemn issues as such in totality. That is what we expected from the CPA.
There's a particular press release on rape, and it encompasses this case you are talking about.
Why CPA moy body bi nga xamne Child Protection Alliance all the time you people have to take an individual stance to things to show us ne li ak li nangul like sometimes am na oro yu de am ñu nangu ko ñu dem ñu continue lo rek
but the last whatsoever blast you said online that comes I saw it I am the one to react to them. But most of them are screen. I read them, I'm like, oh no. Because you know why? If I respond to them, I'm giving them relevance. And what they're saying is not relevant.
They did. You do individual, we determine relevance. You are a body.
No, because the information. The information that they are trying to spew has no base. So why would I react? Why would we react to that?
I've personally read certain things that people have put across. They are like, we've never, since this case started, we did not see the CPA come out to say anything.
No, they say where was CPA from the beginning?
One
so
time, Mama Daniel, is there right?
Is
to
there?
ask because the institution is there as an advocacy body and to condemn things when necessary. They are not a law making, they are not government, they are just there to complement. But it's their right to question.
Of course.
CPA nekon bobo ba nak ngeen use seen communication skills tontu len ne len akli lañ doon def since the beginning. Communication bi wax bi jefa why it's wrong in my perspective to say you're going to give them relevant. No, you are a body and people have a right to question. People have a right to hold you accountable because you're there not as a law making body, not as government, but to yéen a génne seen mandate ne dañoo supplement government effort am. So foog ñu question fan ngeen ko supplement.
Yes. So I have to make this clear.
Okay.
Sometimes, you know, in the Gambia, information, education, and communication is one of the most important things in this generation that we live. Okay? So, and we have to understand that the social media in general is here to advance information dissemination, and then it helps us to receive information in a very quick way. But not what all we see on the internet is accurate.
True.
Okay?
True.
And then this particular case, as you are saying, most of what I have seen about
there's a lot of misinterpretation.
About CPA this, CPA that is not accurate.
Good.
It's not, definitely not accurate because most of them, I said, we know more than they do, and we did more than they do. Okay? We were on the ground doing a lot of work to make sure that a lot of things are right.
Okay.
Okay? It doesn't mean that CPA should only address situations by publishing press releases.
I did not say that, but in certain situations.
In certain situations, we do. We should. Okay? But in issues of rape, this is one line with variables. Okay? CPA has a part to play. You as a journalist, as the media, has a part to play.
True.
Somebody else has a part to play. So what we could do is to play our part. And we have been playing our part. And then it is too sad that most of the cases concerning rape are compromised. But the public would be very comfortable to come on the street to occupy Westfield on political issues, but they wouldn't want to on issues of rape. We are not there to force the public to come out against any other thing. What we're there is to make sure that the protection of children is the primary objective.
Okay, quickly, let's move away from that before we leave.
Yes.
The Children's National Assembly. You know, I think you have a relationship.
Somehow.
How tight is it? Because I've not been seeing activities coming from there. And when the initiative came, I was one of the individuals who was so excited about it. So do you know what's been going on? No? Yes?
I think I'll be very unfair to answer that question.
Okay, no, that is why I said, do you have any relationship or have provided any support to the
if I do, I'm not doing justice to them.
You're not? No. Okay.
So
fair enough.
What I could do justice to is to talk about Voice of the Young.
Okay.
Because anything about Voice of the Young, I could comfortably say, this is this is that.
But do you have members of the Voice of the Young as part of the
Children's National Assembly?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, which means that
there are two different institutions that complements each other.
Okay.
But the Voice of the Young is a child spearheaded advocacy group directly on the Child Protection Alliance. And I'm saying, for Voice of the Young, I could say everything about it.
Okay, I understand.
But Children's National Assembly?
Okay, I thought there's a strong relationship.
There's a very strong relationship between us. We do a lot of things together.
Okay.
We complement each other's work.
Yes.
Okay? And in fact, we might be doing some things together very soon.
Oh, good. I'm happy. Then it means it's still
But
on
I cannot talk on
You
their
cannot.
behalf.
You
No.
cannot.
If I do, I'm doing somebody's job.
You are? You are. Okay.
So,
I understand that.
Yes.
But thank you so much, Mr. Dabo, for coming. Like you mentioned, the Child Protection Alliance, it's not a body, it's not the police, it's not the government. But the moment you say you are an alliance and this is what you do, this is what your mandate is, then it is our job to question.
By force.
We have to question.
The media has an accountability role to play.
Yes.
And in keeping us accountable, you must make sure that you put us to task.
So what are you waiting for to have the CPA hour on QTV? Maybe you can come and buy airtime from us. I mean, come buy airtime.
So now,
yes.
I would say
Q Radio mangini.
Okay,
QTV mangini.
Okay, so now let's put it this way.
And you know,
what is QTV and Q Radio waiting for? In fulfillment of its corporate social responsibility to create an hour for children online.
You die.
UN day has to do with children. Do they romba bir Gambia feet? Accommodate mahale.
Even last week,
UNICEF, they're always supporting. Te amud ben child day bo hamne dina am Gambia here that QTV News we will feature. QTV News will feature. One thing I know about QTV is that we are diverse in the sense that we get to accommodate all ages, 40s, 50s, youth, you name it. That is why people have to come and join our team and sponsor us. We're very diverse. And hey, these are some of the benefits that you have when you sponsor this morning as well.
Absolutely.
That is, we stream live online, which is Facebook. We stream on YouTube. The program airs at this time, repeats 12 a.m. as well. And hey, ñun rek si waxal nit. Ñun ku ñu sponsor man rek si wax.
Let
me compliment you first. That I am saying you've been doing a great work for children.
Thank you.
And we could compliment you and QTV for that.
Yes.
And this platform that we are here today could be part of that as well. Okay. So, but now I don't want you to speak on behalf of QTV marketing. Now I'm telling them, you know what, listen, I'm telling them, you know what, you are doing a lot of good programs on children issues, but please, as part of a corporate social responsibility, we will be very glad for QTV to say, we have 1 hour every week for children and we want Child Protection Alliance to provide content.
Anyway, didn't say it. For the remind Children's Day of Broadcasting, you know, we as a television, we put in our own resources to ensure that whenever it's Children's Day of Broadcasting, we accommodate all these young people, Day of the Girl, you know, we put in our own resources. We all know how TV works. TV is very expensive. Gambians say nekuñ di gëna di sponsor. Mota ñuy wax ne Gambians si su ñëwé ñu sponsor ñu, dinañ mëna expand with what we have currently. We are using our own resources as a television station. Because we don't have a subvention or anything. These are things coming from our own coffers. So you support you hold that content
businessmen, private corporate bodies. Please empower them.
Yes.
Empower children.
Empower them. You empower them.
Wow.
But don't forget about online abuse of children. Because there are a lot of children online and they need protection. There are a lot of predators online. Okay, all that they are looking for is to groom children for sexual activities. Is to emotionally abuse children. Or subject children to some of the things that would devalue or add or give them mental or emotional stress somehow. So we need to make sure we are focused on that.
So Ibrahima, before we leave, thank you so much, Ibrahima, for coming on the program. We really appreciate it and looking forward to more collaborations when it comes to children-related matters. So Ibrahima, remind us, what is the number to call if you want to sponsor this morning?
You can call 3244444.
While 444. What have number be mobile? While 444.
Or you can call 3333-149.
What have been number be 444?
Munga call 3244444.
So, one benefit la need am to sponsor here this morning. Program bi dafa stream on Facebook, stream on YouTube. Then ko repeat 12 a.m. si goudi. Be pare dina play time bi. Be pare ñun ay gewel lañ.
Mané
ñun ko sponsor programme bi ñu gewelal la be fu gewel.
Buba mo ma call xana xamul ne man ma ngi this morning. Buba xana xamulon ne this morning la nekk.
So come and join our team. Ñun rek a saf xorom nak. This you know, saf xorom lañ def. So come and join our team and then you know we'll push your business agenda.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Bye bye. Buga ñoo di wax